The word Metroidvania might rub some gamers the wrong way, but it's a term that perfectly captures a unique gaming experience. These games, inspired by the Metroid and Castlevania series, mix exploration, unlocking new paths, and growing your skill set as you journey through expansive layered worlds. While big names like Nintendo and Konami haven't been as active in the genre lately, indie developers have stepped up, delivering some incredible new titles that carry the spirit of the classics. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the best Metroidvanias out there. Let's get into it. It's not every day we see developers go all out for their already released games, but White Rabbit has really raised the bar with Death's Gambit Afterlife. This revamped version of the 2018 game is packed with improvements, showing just how much passion and dedication the team has put into it. From a complete mechanical overhaul to new endings, bosses, weapons, and some awesome quality of life updates, Afterlife is a total game changer. At its core, Death's Gambit Afterlife is a Souls-like Metroidvania that follows Soren, who is a soldier serving under death, tasked with freeing the cursed land of Cyrodiil. The gameplay takes clear inspiration from Dark Souls, but it introduces its own twist with hybrid class builds, rewarding progression, and an exciting skill tree system. The combat system has been refined to perfection, with stamina-based attacks, precise dodges, and the ability to execute a perfect block and parry. Every battle feels fluid and rewarding. Boss fights in Afterlife are another highlight. The game features 6 new bosses, in addition to the 14 from the original. These encounters are not only challenging, but fair, often incorporating environmental platforming alongside intense combat. It's clear that White Rabbit poured their heart into Death's Gambit Afterlife. It's not just a game, it's a labor of love that elevates the original into something truly special. Whether you're a seasoned veteran of Souls-like games or a newcomer looking for something fresh, this is a must-play. Guacamelee 2 had me laughing out loud one moment and gripping my controller the next, trying not to get too frustrated with its tricky platforming puzzles. But no matter what, I loved almost every minute of it. The gameplay is a perfect mix of platforming and combat, with mechanics that keep surprising you. You've got returning abilities like headbutts, ground pounds, and dimension shifting, plus awesome new additions like hooks that let you launch yourself across the map. The humor in this game is top-notch. It's clever, creative, and always finds a way to make you laugh. But it doesn't just rely on jokes. There's a surprising amount of heart in the story too. The connection to Juan's home timeline and his journey feels meaningful, making you care about the adventure as much as the laughs. The co-op mode is another highlight. Up to 3 friends can join in, and it turns the game into this beautifully chaotic dance of punches, jumps, and dimension shifts. Sure, syncing up perfectly can be tricky, but when you nail it, the feeling is incredible. Guacamelee 2 takes everything that worked in the first game and improves on it. The platforming, combat, storytelling, and humor are all elevated to a new level, making it a fantastic sequel that's hard to put down. In La-Mulana, you step into the shoes of archaeologist Lamesa Kosugi, and right from the start, you're thrown into a 2D adventure that feels like an explorative Tomb Raider. Even though it's a 2D game, it gives you this awesome sense of a huge open world to explore. It's not just about running and jumping either. You'll be whipping enemies, throwing bombs, and figuring out how to deal with different enemy patterns that keep you constantly thinking. And if you're feeling creative, there are alternate weapons like shurikens that let you change up your combat strategy, keeping things fresh and exciting. The game also gives you freedom. You can approach it in your own way, deciding where to explore and how to tackle challenges. And while it's definitely tough, the design ensures you'll improve as you go, discovering new abilities and better strategies to navigate its labyrinths. And playing it on the Nintendo Switch is really seamless. The game runs perfectly, especially in handheld mode, so you can enjoy it anywhere. Plus, with 20 to 30 hours of gameplay, there's a ton of content to keep you hooked the whole time. SteamWorld Dig 2 is a fantastic sequel that takes everything the original game did right and makes it even better. The core gameplay of digging for resources is still there, but now the game has added puzzles and RPG elements to make it even more engaging. The world feels so detailed, and the dungeon layouts are carefully designed to keep you on your toes. The addition of cave entrances that lead to self-contained challenges really adds variety to the gameplay. These rooms shift the pace and give you specific solutions to solve, providing a satisfying break from the usual sprawling world. The puzzles and platforming sections are not overly difficult, but they're still incredibly satisfying to work through. I also love the variety of challenges the game throws at you. Whether you're dodging Indiana Jones-style traps or navigating an acid swamp, the game keeps you on your toes. The tension of managing your health and lamp while you explore adds a real sense of urgency to the experience. And even after defeating the final boss, there's plenty of incentive to keep playing. In short, SteamWorld Dig 2 is an awesome follow-up to the original game. It builds on everything that made the first one great and makes it even more exciting. If you love exploration, puzzles, and RPG elements, this is a game you definitely need to check out. Astalon hooked me right from the start with its awesome mix of old-school Castlevania vibes and modern RPG mechanics. As you journey through the Tower of Serpents, there's this constant sense of discovery that really keeps you coming back for more. One of the coolest features is the ability to switch between 3 unique heroes. Each hero has their own abilities, and figuring out when to switch between them is crucial to solving puzzles and getting through tough spots. The game's pacing is spot on, with each area introducing new challenges, enemies, and rewards. The difficulty curve is fair, ramping up as you progress through the tower, but it never feels overwhelming. What really stands out for me is the level of customization. Defeating enemies drops orbs, and you can use them to upgrade your characters or grab temporary buffs. Whether you want to focus on powering up one character or balance the whole group, it's completely up to you. If you love games like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night or Axiom Verge, Astalon is an absolute must-play. It nails that nostalgic platforming feel while blending it with modern gameplay and rewarding exploration, making it an adventure you'll definitely want to stick with. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom is a masterpiece that blends the best elements of classic platformers with modern innovations. It's a vibrant, hand-drawn, side-scrolling adventure with RPG elements that truly shines. The visuals are stunning, with a comic-style aesthetic full of bright colors and intricate details. The backgrounds feel alive, and the animations are incredibly smooth, making every moment a joy to watch and play. The story is simple, yet engaging, drawing you into a magical world filled with monsters, mysteries, and charming characters. Helping the world's inhabitants and uncovering secrets across the 15-hour campaign is rewarding and keeps you hooked throughout. The game's progression is brilliantly designed. Transforming into 6 different animals, each with unique abilities, allows for creative problem-solving. For example, the pig can sniff out secrets and cast spells, the snake can climb walls and spit venom, and the frog can swim and reach new areas. The puzzles are a highlight, often requiring you to use multiple forms in sequence, and solving them gives a great sense of accomplishment. Honestly, Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom is pure fun. It's creative, full of charm, and incredibly polished. If you're a fan of platformers or adventure games, this one's a must-play. The Metroidvania subgenre has given us countless amazing games, but Bloodstained Ritual of the Night truly stands out. In Bloodstained, you play as Miriam, who is an orphan with the ability to absorb and wield a massive variety of demon powers. Her character design is fantastic, and the game even lets you customize her appearance, which is a nice touch. There are countless weapons and powers to choose from. Whether you prefer fast and agile one-handed swords, long-range guns, or even kung fu, the game has something for everyone. The monsters in Bloodstained are some of the best I've seen. From giant demon cats to shredding guitar players, there's always something new and unique to battle. The bosses, especially those carried over from the 8-bit prequel Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, are incredibly designed and a blast to fight. Honestly, there are tons of great Metroidvania games out there, but Bloodstained proves that Koji Igarashi's iconic Igavania style is still on top. It's safe to say that Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is a worthy successor to the legendary Castlevania Symphony of the Night. If you're a fan of the genre, this one's an absolute must-play. Aeterna Noctis is one of those games that just feels like it was made with so much passion and care. Right from the start, the world building grabs your attention. The story is deep, and even though it's mostly told through small scripts and data points, it's packed with lore that's revealed in beautifully animated cutscenes. When it comes to gameplay, Aeterna Noctis nails it. It takes inspiration from Hollow Knight, which is already a huge win, but it also adds some seriously tough platforming elements, like what you'd find in Celeste or Super Meat Boy. The combat is another highlight. It feels tight, satisfying, and just right. The bosses are a lot of fun to fight, and while the game is tough, it never feels unfair. The checkpoints are placed well, and by the time you're done, you'll definitely feel a sense of growth and progression. For a game that's this beautiful and offers so much, it's clear that Aeterna Noctis is a true labor of love. It's hands down one of the best Metroidvanias I've played, and if you love challenging platforming, great combat, and getting lost in a gorgeous world, I can't recommend it enough. Ori and the Will of the Wisps takes everything we loved about the first game and makes it even better. The visuals are stunning with a vibrant hand-painted art style that brings every location to life. The open-world design is a joy to explore. Every area is packed with hidden collectibles and secrets, making you want to revisit places once you unlock new abilities. The combat is just as exciting. You can customize Ori with active abilities like a fast-spinning sword, a powerful hammer, or a bow that shoots energy arrows. Each weapon feels unique and adds depth to the gameplay. The combat shard system lets you tweak your abilities, allowing you to create a playstyle that suits you. Also, the boss fights are challenging but never unfair, with creative mechanics that keep you on your toes. The narrative is filled with moments of sorrow, joy, and redemption. Even the antagonists are given depth, showing that everyone has a story of loss and hope. Moon Studios has managed to take everything that made Ori and the Blind Forest special and push it to new heights. It's a heartfelt, beautiful experience that's an absolute must-play. Ender Lilies' Quietus of the Night stands out as a masterpiece in the Souls-like genre, capturing that sense of dread and atmosphere that fans of these games know and love. The game's protagonist, who is Lily, is a unique and refreshing character. Her cutesy drawn animations add to the game's charm, and her presence in this dark, grotesque world feels strangely fitting. While the game doesn't have the brutal difficulty that's often expected from Souls-like titles, it still offers plenty of room for strategy. The combat revolves around the use of spirits, which you collect throughout the game. The Umbral Light Spirit, in particular, is a great example of how the game simplifies combat but still makes it effective. His simple slashes are easy to use, and his efficiency and speed make him a reliable choice for most encounters. This system allows players to focus on perfecting their timing and strategy, rather than being overwhelmed by complex mechanics. While the challenge may not be as intense as other titles in the Souls-like genre, the experience is enriching enough to keep players coming back for more. It's a game that doesn't just rely on its combat, but on creating an experience that's truly immersive and unforgettable. If SCA Studios set out to make a 2D Dark Souls, they absolutely nailed it with Salt and Sanctuary. This game is a brutal side-scrolling action-adventure where every step really tests your skill and perseverance. The hand-drawn art style is one of the most striking aspects of the game. It's got this perfect balance of being brutal, but also kind of goofy in a way. You can see the developers cast work on arcade beat-em-ups, like Charlie Murder in there. But this time, it's combined with a gothic dark world that really makes the whole experience stand out. The combat requires absolute precision. You have to time your attacks, parries, and riposts just right. It's tough, but when you get that timing down, it feels so rewarding. And yes, the difficulty is high, but it's totally fair. Death is something that happens often, but it never feels like the game is punishing you unfairly. It feels like a challenge that you can overcome with patience and the right strategy. And what I love is that there's a real sense of progression as you collect salt to level up your character. You always know that even after a tough death, you're getting closer to being stronger and overcoming that next challenge. From the very first moment you start playing Blasphemous, it pulls you in with its stunning combat animations and its dedication to some seriously twisted religious themes. The hero, who is the penitent one, is a silent but striking figure, and his habit of slamming vials of blood against his helmet just adds to the uniqueness of the character. The combat is super reactive, which keeps you on your toes the entire time. You have to be ready to parry or dodge at just the right moment. And let me tell you, pulling off a parry feels so good. There's this awesome little slow motion effect when you land a counterattack, and it just makes you feel like a total throw every single time. As you explore the world, each area introduces you to a new batch of enemies. Sure, you'll see a few repeats, but even then, the designs feel fresh and distinct. Each boss is completely unique with different playstyles and designs that keep you engaged. Some of these fights are genuinely mind-blowing, not just because of the gameplay, but also because of how creepy and unsettling they are. It's that perfect blend of challenge and eerie charm that really makes Blasphemous special. Hollow Knight is a game that's easy to get lost in, and I mean that in the best way possible. The world of Hollowness is vast, with so many hidden paths to explore and secrets waiting to be uncovered. Each area in Hollow Knight has its own unique atmosphere, and the level design is just stunning. Combat in Hollow Knight is incredibly rewarding. It requires patience, skill, and a keen sense of timing. You'll be learning enemy attack patterns, finding the best moments to heal, and using your upgrades to your advantage. And what's amazing is how customizable your playstyle is with the charm system. You can equip charms that make your attacks stronger, help you gather more soul, or even give you new abilities with a shotgun burst of maggots. And let's not forget the boss fights. They are some of the best challenges in the game. From fast, agile enemies to massive, intimidating brutes, and these battles push you to use everything you've learned, and they're so rewarding when you win. But if you get stuck, you're never forced to continue. You can explore other paths and come back later. My playthrough took over 40 hours, and I still found myself uncovering new things right up until the end. That flexibility is what makes the game so enjoyable. In 1994, Super Metroid came out, and it quickly became a game that left a permanent mark on the gaming world. For me, it holds a special place in my heart. It's my all-time favorite game, and it consistently ranks high on lists of the greatest games ever. Nintendo really nailed it when they transitioned from the 8-bit to the 16-bit generation. They took the core ideas from classics like Mario, Zelda, and Metroid, and with Super Metroid, they perfected it. The game felt like the natural evolution of the series, but it also introduced new ideas, such as the semi-open world design. It made Super Metroid one of the early examples of what would later be called Metroidvania, which is a genre now beloved by so many. What makes Super Metroid so special is that it stays with you. I played it for the first time as a kid, and even now, I revisit it regularly. I've beaten it countless times, but the thrill of discovery is never fully gone. It's crazy to think that over 20 years later, people are still asking for a 2D Metroid game, and they're really asking for something as good as Super Metroid. After releasing some iconic Castlevania titles like Super Castlevania 4, Dracula X, Bloodlines, and Rondo of Blood, Konami had already proven they could make incredible Castlevania games on any system. But when gaming started shifting to 3D, Konami made a bold move by developing two Castlevania games. One in 3D for the Nintendo 64, and another 2D game for the PlayStation. That 2D game, which is the Symphony of the Night, wasn't given much attention at first, but what came out of that freedom was something truly legendary. Symphony of the Night completely changed the Castlevania formula. Instead of sticking to the usual linear structure the series was known for, it took a page out of games like The Legend of Zelda and Metroid, giving us what we now call the Metroidvania genre. The castle you explore is massive, colorful, and packed with secrets, making it so much fun to explore and offering tons of replay value. You play as Alucard, and he's got access to all kinds of weapons, abilities, and even transformations, like turning into a bat or mist. The combat and exploration are on another level. Alucard can equip hundreds of different weapons and upgrades, so you have a lot of freedom in how you want to fight. Plus, as you level up, you get that RPG-like progression, which makes the battles feel super rewarding as you get stronger. Even though Symphony of the Night was kind of a sleeper hit when it first came out, it's since become a full-on masterpiece. It's aged incredibly well and still stands out as one of the best games of the 90s. Even today, its gameplay feels fresh and polished. It set a whole new standard for Castlevania games and has influenced a ton of other Metroidvania games that came after it. And that's a wrap on our list of the best Metroidvania games. Whether you're a fan of tight platforming, deep exploration, or engaging combat, there's something for everyone in this genre. Let me know in the comments which of these games is your favorite, or if there's another Metroidvania you think deserves a spot on the list. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more gaming content, and don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy gaming!